Hey guys, welcome back. Welcome back. It's day three. I'm really excited about this. Um, yeah, it's day three of our Dear Event Planner series. So excited. I don't know how we got here already, but we are here and I'm really excited. All right. Now, before I go too far, I want to mention that tomorrow's day four. Day four, my goal is for day four to be a Q&A. I want to answer you guys' questions. This is a real good opportunity, right, to ask some questions and I want to answer them. So if you're watching live, make sure you drop your questions in the comments. Have questions about anything, about your business, about event planning, drop it in the comments. For those of you guys who are watching the replay, drop it in the comments, right? Drop it in the comments. I will be reviewing them all before I go live tomorrow, and I'll use those to go live. I'll be responding based off of the questions that are answered. So I'm really hoping for it to be a really good Q&A. Of course, the Q&A is gonna be live as well. So please join. Right, join, listen live. And if you have a question, you can also ask it live. But I always say to be safe, it's good to ask your question in advance to make sure that I get a chance to answer it, right, during the session. All right. So today is day three, like I said, of our Dear Event Planner series. Is a 14-day series dedicated to event planners. Here, this channel is dedicated to all things events. So we do, of course, have a lot of couples getting married. We have people who are members of organizations who are about to plan an event. And we also have a lot of people who are event planners. So this series is dedicated to planners. Anybody can watch, but planners, you guys are our longest. You guys are our long-term subscribers. Like, you pay attention to our videos over the long term. So I said, let me do something special for the planners. And I decided to come up with this series. All right. Of course, there's a lot more for everybody all across our channel. So be sure to check that out, right? Even if you feel like this isn't for you. So quick introductions. In case this is your first video that you're coming across on our channel, my name is Faye Shala. I'm the owner of Statuesque Events. I'm here in our office, which is based in the DC metro area. I own a company that has a team of different lead planners and coordinators, and we produce events everywhere. We've done events as far up as Connecticut. We've gone to the Midwest, right, to Minneapolis. We've done California, Texas. We've done Florida. We're working on some international destinations now. We do a lot of beautiful luxury events all over for both couples and for corporations, nonprofits, and all the like, right? In addition to that, I do have a coaching program. It's called Planners Who Profit. It is what it sounds like, Planners Who Profit, helping event planners to build more profitable event planning companies in a few different ways, getting more business, but also streamlining so that you can increase your capacity for clients, right? It's been phenomenal. And this is basically one of our free series for Planners Who Profit. So make sure you soak it up. If you're enjoying this series, do me a favor, go to the description and apply to join our accelerator program. It's no risk. Just make sure you apply. We'll let you know what is the best fit for you as a next step with working with us more deeply in our programs. All right. So again, there are resources for everybody. There are resources for everybody in our in the description. Whether you are planning an event, you can see how you can reach out to us and all that in the description, or if you are an event planner. All right, now enough of the intro. I'm really excited about this. Dear event planner, if you are looking to book more 2024 events, watch this. All right, so today we're talking about some things about what that looks like. I am hearing a lot of people say, man, like, it's so slow. 2024 bookings are so slow. Everyone who's coming my way is looking for a wedding in 2025 or an event in 2025. And that's okay, but I haven't quite booked up my 2024. Right now, if this is how you feel, then this video is for you. And I want to say a couple things. Number one, I hear where you're coming from. Like that, I get that feeling where it's like, I want to book more business for this year, right? The reason that booking more business for this year is great is, number one, it's money that you're making all this year, right? As event planners, we accept deposits. So let's say someone's planning an event, and let's say you charge $5,000, right, per event right now. You can either, if you book an event in October, that's $5,000 and you get that whole $5,000 this year. And if you book an event next year, a lot of those deposits are going to be going into next year, right? So you may be making $2,500 this year and $2,500 next year. Either way, you make the money, but making it faster can be really great, right? Number two is that you get to front load your availability. As event planners, we sell time, right? So there are 52 weekends in a year. Let's say you want to work 10 of them, right? You want to make sure you're front loading it, because yes, someone can book for next year, but you don't want to be so booked up next year that you can't take on more where you kind of had lost availability for this year. So I totally get the desire behind that as well. And then last but not least, I always say that people are attracted to businesses that are busy. When people see, oh my goodness, this person's always working on events, or this person's booked, like they're busy, like I see them producing 8, 10, 12, 15 events a year, like it automatically makes you be like, oh, they must be really good, let me reach out to them, right? Versus the person who's like, well, I don't really have any events. It's like, maybe there's something wrong, right? And so you do want to you want to be busy enough so that people are attracted to what you're doing. If you think about, I always like to use the example of hairstylists, right? Or for any men who are watching, a barber. You want that barber, like everybody wants that barber who has a line and who you gotta like make an appointment and come early just to make sure. Like you usually want that person because you're like, they must be good, right? It's kind of like, or when you were younger, for those of us who used to go to the club, everybody wants to get into the club that has a line wrapped around the door. So I'm not saying that you want to book yourself solid. You want to, run yourself ragged doing an event every single week, but you do want to be, being busy helps, right? And you do look busier if you do 10 events in 1 year versus 10 events over 3 years, right? It's still, so these are reasons that you may be like, you know what, I do want to, now that I listen to this, like I do see the reason that I may want to, add some more events for this year. If this resonates with you, let me know in the chat. For those of you guys who are joining the live, welcome. Let me know, where you're tuning in from in the chat. That's the only way I know who's on is when you comment on the live chat. But I'd love to connect with you there. So a couple things that you want to do. Number one, I want to say that the reason that I think we're having this problem, like I always have my philosophies, a big part of the reason that I think this is happening right now, where people are like, oh, everybody who wants to get married in 2025, is actually us. It is actually a lot of us in the industry. All the posts that are telling people, oh, you need to hurry up and book your vendors. Everybody's selling out. Availability is tight. You got to rush. Everything's selling out. So because people are hearing that and seeing that on our social media channels, in our posts, in our language, people are like, okay, I hear you. Everything's sold out. So why not just shoot for next year? Or maybe why not just shoot for 2026? I literally had I actually had a check-in, not a check-in, a consultation with a couple of clients recently at getting married either in 2025 or 2026. And they all expressed worry when I asked, is there anything that worries you when you're planning this event? And it was all just like, yeah, I hear everything's selling out. So I just want to make sure I have enough time to secure things. And I'm like, in 2026? In 2025? Like, you have plenty of time, right? But I think that the language that we've put out there is almost like there's nothing left, which is not true. You could plan an event in 3 months right now. You got to be flexible, right? You got to be flexible and you got to work with what's available, but it absolutely can be done. And there are vendors available. So many vendors are complaining that, oh, 2024 is feeling light. Everybody wants next year. Yeah. So that means people are available, right? So I think that our language has to change. And so what that looks like is actually saying like, we're available for 2024 and 2025 events, right? You want to let people know that you still have availability. You want to let people know, hey, we can plan events in as short as 6 months. You want to let people know. I remember some years ago, I did like a campaign. It was like a while ago. It was like maybe 7 years ago or so. I did a campaign where I talked about the process of planning an event in 9 months. And the reason I did that in January was because I wanted to get more fall clients. So I said, okay, the type of people who are going to watch this or who are going to be part of my campaign are going to be people who were recently engaged over the holidays and who don't want to wait till next year to get married. So I'm going to speak to the person, this exact person, right? Because I know if I got engaged over the holidays, I would not be wanting to wait till 2025. I'd want to find a way to make it work this year. And what that looks like if I'm hiring an event planner, especially a full service event planner who's supposed to be a leader and a director and somebody who's helping me and guiding me, I would want that person to be comfortable with doing that. I don't want to hire someone who's like, well, I don't know. We usually give it a year and a half. I mean, you're cutting it close. I wouldn't be attracted to someone like that. I'd be attracted to someone who's like, yeah, I can handle this. Yeah, this is how, like, who's bringing that confidence. So you want to speak to this client. Speak to them in your social media captions, speak to them in your emails when you're following up with people, reassure people. that you can handle it, right? And that this is something that you do. So I want to like these are that's the first thing that you want to do. And believe it or not, this has a bigger impact than you might think, right? To attract people who would be interested in moving forward for this year and planning an event for this year. Because last year, especially for those of us who are focused on weddings, a lot of people got engaged. A whole lot of people got engaged over the holidays last year. And not all of them. I mean, a good portion of them, I think, are not going to want to wait till next year, right? Like they're different personalities. There's some people who are cool with being engaged for 2 years. And there's some people who are like, no, 9 months max, 10 months max. Like, I just want to move this along, get married. Like, so I think that you want to remember those people in mind and make sure that you're speaking to them so that when they come across your content, it resonates and they're ready to inquire and move forward, right? So that's one. Number two is that you need to streamline your business. I want to say and this is a bold statement, so I'm just going to put it out there. If you are a professional event planner, especially if you are an experienced event planner, it should not take you more than 6 months to plan an event. You should not require more than 6 months to plan an event start to finish. Now, clients may want to plan an event over a long time frame. Some people say, "Oh, I just need more time to wrap my mind around it." Some people say, I'm trying to save, right? Like if they know they want an elaborate wedding and they don't have everything saved right now, yeah, if you give it a year and a half, that gives you plenty of time to save towards the wedding or make deposits over time. Those are reasons to plan an event over a long time frame, right? But you should not require more than 6 months to plan an event start to finish. I'm talking an event, no venue, no nothing. You should be equipped. If you're dealing with someone who has the expenses and who's decisive enough to do it, you should be able to guide them start to finish. Honestly, you should be able to do it even in 4 months, but 4 months makes it tighter with like actually inviting people and stuff like that, right? So if what I just said sounds foreign to you, or if it stresses you out, that's a sign that you need to streamline your business. You need to streamline your approach. You need to streamline how you plan events so that you're not going, I find that a lot of people are putting a lot of effort, but going in circles in your process and in the way that you approach the event planning process, the way you search for vendors, the way that you follow up with people, the way you build your timeline. It's slightly chaotic and it's kind of circular in the sense that you're not always making progress. You're moving, you're making a lot of effort, but nothing's really actually getting done or moving forward. And so that's a huge one, right? Like when we work with people in our accelerator program, this is a big one that we work on. A lot of people come to us because they're like, oh, I'm trying to get more bookings, I need more clients. And that's great. That's great. But when, let's say you're used to doing 2 to 4 events a year, and then all of a sudden you get this rush and you find yourself needing to produce 10, 12, 15 events, especially if you're still part-time, which a lot of people are, the next panic, the next stressor is, wait, this is a lot of work, right? And yes, it's a lot of work. It's valuable, but you can still do it. And I'm not going to lie, in the 4 hours a day. I know yesterday we talked about planning your business around your life, and I gave a sample schedule of how to do that, even if you have a day job, or even if you're a caretaker. Let's say you're a stay-at-home mom and you have to take care of kids during certain hours of the day. You can apply what I gave yesterday to that. That still applies when you have 10 clients, like, because I use that schedule. The schedule I gave you was my schedule, and I had that schedule when we were doing 15 to 20 weddings a year. Now I know that I'm just naturally super efficient and I'm just that's why I lessen that to say, hey, if you're doing 10 or fewer events a year, you could definitely do it in 4 hours a day, because I was doing double in that time frame. And some of you should be able to handle 15, but you got to have the right schedule, which I talked about yesterday, and then also the right streamlining in your structures, which we work with our clients through in our accelerator program. This is a big part of the reason we like to work with people for 6 months. Usually when we work with people, it doesn't take more than a month or maybe a month and a half to max for you to start seeing the bookings coming in, the more leads, making higher end sales. That part doesn't take 6 months. For some people, it takes 2 weeks for that to start, right? It doesn't take that long, like literally. And I'm not exaggerating. If you go to our Instagram page, and go to hashtag PWP wins, or just go on Instagram and look up the hashtag PWPWINS to PWP wins, you'll see the wins. All of them are within 60 days. Almost all of them are within 60 days. And you can see how many clients people are booking in that short time frame, right? And that's great. But the reason we like to work with people for 6 months is that in order for you to be really successful, you can't just book the clients. You have to be able to serve them and serve them with excellence and make sure that the events go well. And ideally, not pull your hair out in the process. Ideally, not be so stressed that you want to give up on your business, right? And that's what we like to work with people on for the long term, right? And that's a big part of it. So listen, number one, you want to speak to the clients. Number two, you need to streamline your business so that you can plan events in a shorter time frame. It should not take you, if you have all things being equal, if you have all the things you need, which is a client who's able to pay whatever the total cost of the wedding is within the next 6 months, it shouldn't take you more than 6 months, right? You should not be the reason that people need, you shouldn't be the reason. So that's something to keep in mind. Now, number three is, I just talked a lot about our accelerator program, and I want to talk about that word accelerate, moving faster, right? Like it's time to, for many of you, it's time to get support to move your business forward. I want to say it's a very small percentage of businesses in general that make it to six figures. It's less than 10% of businesses that ever make it to six figures. And I would say that that's probably similar or probably even less for those businesses in the events industry, right? So instead of continuing to try to guess along the way on your own, if you really are serious about making progress, you want to invest in yourself. You have to invest in yourself. Businesses invest in themselves. They invest in you want to invest in things that are going to actually move you forward. I see a lot of people investing in storefronts. A storefront is not really going to move you forward as an event planner because most of our work is on site or virtual. That's not the first investment you need to make, right? You want to invest, if you're struggling to get leads, you're struggling to get closings, you want to invest in what's going to bring that for you and do it in a long term. Yes, you can do paid advertising, but as soon as you turn that paid advertising off, it no longer works. Also, paid advertising by itself doesn't work. If you don't actually get the fundamentals that we talk about correct, a lot of people are going to be seeing your ads or whatever your listing is or whatever and still not want it and continue passing it by. So it could be money flushed down the toilet if you don't have your basics right. Paid advertising is great to amplify what's already working. If you haven't figured out how to get it already working, then amplifying it isn't going to fix the problem, right? And so I would say that it's, for many of you, it's time for you to, I'm going to be bold, it's time for you to get support. Support is in our Planners Who Profit Accelerator. If you want to learn more, submit an application. The link is in the description. All that does is open up a communication path for us to talk about your business specifically, how to move your business forward, and then just the best option for you moving forward, right? What that's going to look like, what your next 6 months is going to look like, how that affects your next 18 months, and the long term of your business. I love working with people because what we do lasts, right? We have people come into our program, make six figures, and years later, when we check in with our alumni, they're still making six figures. Like they're still increasing, they're still growing, right? Because of the foundational work that we did one time for them to make that next quantum leap. Like if you're, some of you already done the foundational work of getting your first few clients and all that. Now you want to make the next big leap to the high-end market or to the luxury market. Once you get there, with the work that we're doing is going to continue to serve you, even once you get there, right? And that's our goal for this program and moving you forward. All right. Now, so that's the next one. And the last thing I want to put in, last piece of practical advice, consider selling coordination. I think that a lot of people, if you are in this place where you're like, oh, I don't have a lot of 2024 clients and all that, consider having a 2024. Consider selling coordination. It's your business. You can do whatever you want. You can offer coordination for maybe the next 6 months and then no longer offer it again if your business starts to take off again, right? But it's a great way to make additional revenue for this year. It's a great way to be busy. It's a great way to do the work. And if you do it the right way, which we teach in our program, if you do it the right way, it is easy money. I know a lot of you have done coordination where it was almost harder than planning the event because there was so much to fix, and it was like pulling teeth to get information out of clients, and vendor selections just were not up to par and all of that. But there's a way to significantly streamline it. I want to say that we let go of our coordination very, very recently, but up until then, whenever we got coordination clients, it was easy peasy, right? Like easy for us, easy for the clients. Like there's a very specific process that we have in place to make that easy. So I do want to say, just mention that. And going back to speaking to your clients, don't be afraid to say, oh, we're accepting coordination clients for the spring. We're accepting coordination clients for the summer, right? Like, because that's in only a couple months. And now there are some people who are probably looking for coordinators for their events that are coming up soon. So those are just some tips, some things to keep in mind, some things that you might want to consider. If you feel like you're not getting enough leads for 2024, I'm hoping that this helped you. And obviously, there's so much more to come if you do apply to learn more about joining our accelerator program, right? Now, I want to remind you once again that tomorrow, which is Thursday, which is day 4, is a Q&A. It's purely a Q&A. And so I want to ask you to ask your questions. And even if you're like, I don't have a question, think about what is the number one thing that if you understood it, it would move your business forward. If I understood this one thing, my business would move forward, or running my business would be easier, right? Leave that in the chat. Leave that in the chat, and I'll be sure to answer it in the Q&A. Now, for those of you guys who are watching this past Thursday, because I'm probably gonna leave this series up for a little bit. First of all, next Thursday I'm gonna do another Q&A, so leave it. And if I see the question, I'll answer it next week's Thursday. But even for those who are seeing it later, or all of that, still leave your questions, because we respond to absolutely every single comment on our channel. So you will eventually get an answer. Either way, we will eventually address it and let you know our thoughts about it. So questions are really big. And yeah, thanks again for tuning in. Don't forget to drop to like this video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. There's so much more coming, and I want to make sure that you have access to it. All right. So I look forward to connecting with you guys as you are applying to our program, as you are purchasing your tickets to join us in April. Planners Who Profit Live in Miami. That's where we're headed for 2024. It's going to be so good. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. All the information about all of this is in the description, and I look forward to connecting with you all soon. All right. So enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Enjoy the rest of your evening, depending on where you are. And we'll be back again tomorrow. Okay. Cheers. And enjoy the rest of your day.